The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 30th day of January 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with you in a bit to bring you the latest in the news brought to you by People's. How's everyone doing? It's Thursday. We're almost fully through the traditional. Actually, tomorrow would be the end of the month. Now, in private conversation, I've had quite a few people say this has been the longest January ever. I'm like, man, it's flown by for me. Honestly, like when you have fun, when you're having fun, life just swings on by. But I guess it's a matter of the amount of things that happen in a month that make it long to some people. But yeah, January is flown by. I'm interested to know how everyone's feeling with the year so far. I mean, we've one more day to go, January 31st. Some of us have been lucky enough to make it through the first month. David Michael Wilson says it's a thankful Thursday, everyone. Be thankful for it all. Hey, how about Asha Simons yesterday, huh? Wasn't she like just great? An awesome person. You know, the amount of people who reached out to me afterwards, just insane. So hopefully we get more young people like her who are interested and vested in the political space and the, I guess, the state of our island. So yeah, big up to Asha Simons, her parents, who I don't know, and you know, all those who played a role in ensuring that young lady was offered what she had to offer yesterday. I agree, as David Michael Wilson is saying, she was a breath of fresh air for sure. Folks, if you haven't already, do us a favor. We're going to bring Maya in early in a few. But give us a like, a love, a thumbs up, whatever platform you're on. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. We've got a good one today as we welcome the Commissioner of the Bermuda Police Service, Darrin Simons, onto the show. We're going to be discussing their 2024 statistics. So just a year in review for the Bermuda Police Service. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. We've got quite a lot coming up over the next week or so. Maya's going to bring us a very in-depth news break this morning. And then, like I said, we have the commissioner coming on after that. But very interesting day in Bermuda yesterday, huh? Very interesting day with, I mean, there were quite a few rollouts yesterday. We had a confusing one with the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. We had a couple of independents, and then we had an FDM rollout as well. Now, I'm not sure if there's going to be more rollouts today, but keep in mind, nomination day is tomorrow. Nomination day is tomorrow. So, you know, I'm not making any real political predictions until after that. I'm going to go through and I'll share them with you. I'll be like, okay, based on what happened in these last 5 general elections, or the last 3, because the boundaries changed, this is probably what's going to happen. Look, I've said it before. I'll continue to say it. Politics is like any given Sunday. The only thing that happens every, 3, 4, 5 years, right? Anything can happen when people human beings go behind that booth, anything can happen. So I don't think anyone predicted 2012. Most people would have probably predicted 2017. I don't think anyone predicted the end result of 2020. And I'll tell you what, this one might be hard to call, folks. It might be hard to call. But keep in mind what I always say regarding politics. One thing, elections are not won. Elections are lost. The party or people governing Bermuda after February 18th are not going to be doing so because they won in anything. And that's why I said the other day, this is nothing to celebrate. They'll be governing because another group lost. Take from that what you will. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Thursday, Jamel and Maya. I had trouble getting on. Asha Simons was awesome. Trouble getting on, Suzanne. What's going on? We can't be having that. You got to make sure you share it on Facebook so no one else has trouble. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, we appreciate Mark, one of the longest serving members of our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining and support. Mark, please, keep it going. And anyone else who wants to join Mark and others, just to let you know, if you do join the channel, you do get some inside stuff. We do have a lot of conversations and things that are not put out there for everyone. So you want to become a member so that you have access to a lot of the things we have going on. All right, let's bring Maya Palacio in for Daily Hour News Break. And then, like I said, we've got the Commissioner of Police coming on after that. So I'm sure you have a lot of questions and comments for the Commissioner about 2024. But let's get to Maya Palacio first.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, and happy Thursday to you, M to the P. How are you?
You know what, Jamel? It's just, I'm sure everyone can agree with me. Like right now, I know we're deep into it and we talk about it every single day on the show, and we're talking about it in our group chats about this general election. But it still feels like I don't know it all. And I can only imagine what it's like for those, I think someone mentioned it in the chat, like who aren't on the beat as regularly or talking about it 24/7 with friends and family, because there's a lot to catch up on every day, almost every 2 hours. So yeah,
it's crazy. Sancha said in the chat yesterday, she was like, "Is there a place we could just get everything in one place or something?" And I know so many people are doing a lot. Like, big up to Bermuda Youth Connect. They've done an awesome job keeping up with who's running
candidates.
Yeah, and I believe Bernu, she's got this page going over there, Bermuda Elections, whatnot. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's tiring. I think someone hit me up yesterday. Oh, can you give me a count of how many independents? I'm like, oh no, probably over 10 at this point, but I think it's 15 if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. I think we're at 15.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot, because even writing them down, I'm like, this one? Did I forget somebody? Like, and you're going back and then trying to read all the stories to catch up on everything. So if you feel like you're out of the loop, don't be dismayed, don't be discouraged. It's a lot to keep up with. This election is definitely something. It's definitely something. But hopefully we can keep you up this morning with a bunch that's going on.
So I said before, we had a confusing PLP rollout yesterday. We had a couple of independents. We had FDM. We didn't have an OBA rollout yesterday, did we?
No OBA rollouts yesterday, no.
Can I say something? I don't deal in rumor, right? But I'm going to say, I don't deal in rumor.
Oh, okay.
But there's a rumor going around. I'm going to say it, because I disclaim that it's a rumor, that the One Bermuda Alliance is about to announce Michael Fay as a candidate. That's what I heard. You didn't hear it from me, though. You didn't hear it from me. But that's what I heard.
Well, if that's true, it'll be in the news break.
I just spread a rumor. Go ahead,
if it's
Maya.
True,
bring the credibility back, Maya.
I will. All right, everyone. So good morning. Good morning. This is your Daily Hour Newsweek brought to you by the great people at People's Pharmacy. So we're going to kick off our Newsweek with a ton of politics this morning, everything that's going on with the general election, starting off with, yes, some new things that were mentioned just the other day. So let's start it.
This upcoming general election is shaping up to be one for the history books. More and more independent candidates are stepping forward, shaking up the traditional political landscape. The latest to enter the race, brothers Cyree and Christopher Bean. The public is already aware of Cyree Bean from the recent by-election. Now his brother, who was his campaign manager, is stepping up and running for a seat of his own. Recently, they led a joint press conference.
We understand that we are standing in front of you today, right now, as two young individuals. But I must make this clear. We are young enough to understand that we do not know it all, but old enough to understand that we know better. And it's imperative that we start not being sorry, not feeling sorry, but being better. We must be better going forward into this general election and beyond. It's not a time for bashing other individuals, bringing anybody down. No disrespect to any of the other political parties or independent members who are running. We should be uplifting each other as a country, as a people, in order to move forward. So that's what we stand for. That is what I believe in as well. And I will be running in constituency 36. And as my brother mentioned, he'll be running in constituency 35.
You know, when I remember when he first announced, him and Malachi, when they first announced him, I'm like, no, guys, you're young. You know, advice I was given when I was young is build your career, build yourself. But I'm actually excited by them. I think I don't know them beyond the conversations I've had with him in particular and Malachi on this show, but there's a genuineness about them. And I say this because I've sat in the room with people who were seeking to be, you know, the candidates to run in certain seats. And they are nice, they mean well. And then when they get in and they need that job to be, you know, they need to be a cabinet minister, it's not that they don't become nice people anymore. It's that they forget who they work for at that point, because the main goal seems to be maintain my cabinet position rather than represent my constituents. And I say all that to say, I don't think, maybe because of his military background, I don't think he will fade away from who he is, if that makes sense. And I think because of what he does for a living, it's consciously, he just seems like a person who will stay focused on what he's selling, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, audience.
Well, it also seems like him and his brother, they both do a lot of community work activism together. As you saw, the first video was to pay a kid. His brother's very much involved with Beyond Inclusion BDA, which is also who we had on the show earlier in the year as well, I believe, or right at the end of last year. So yeah, it seems like they're very involved in the community. They keep saying like born and raised in this constituency. So again, just another bunch of independents who may have a chance in this upcoming general election. Now, moreover, wellness activists and just overall advocate Tiffany Painter made a powerful statement stressing the importance of electing the best possible candidate to parliament and leaders who will put Bermudians first and addressing issues across the island. So in her release as a new independent candidate, here's what she had to say.
You know, some people run from a fight. Others run towards a prize. Today, I am running to fight for you. For the seniors counting coins at checkout. For the teachers buying food to feed their students. To the father working 2 jobs and still falling behind. My name is Tiffany Painter and I'm running in constituency 2 because hope is not passive. It requires action. And I have never been someone who waits to be saved. Over the last 15 years, I've worked to solve problems and create opportunities for others, whether in the business sector, nonprofit world, or government. My focus has always been on getting the work done.
You know, I have to say this disclaimer because, you know, we're in that time. But as I said on Twitter yesterday, this isn't to advise anyone on who to vote for or against. It's just an opinion based on a candidate announcement. So Tiffany Painter's decision to run, it excites me. And if I had the opportunity to vote for her or those like her, my decision would be easy. Now, again, that's not advice. That's not me kind of swaying either way. What I mean by that is she is the definition of advocacy, in my opinion. Another person who I just don't think will sway. I think Tiffany is one of the most genuine people. And as she said, we ain't running from the fight. We're going to face it head on. Maya would tell you, that's how I think. Like, no, we're not unhappy. Let's talk about it. Let's face it on. I believe in someone like her. And I think that's what people are looking for. And I'm not saying other candidates don't offer that. I'm just saying, based on what I know, she's an ideal candidate. So we spoke about the caliber of candidates the other day. Mm-hmm. I think for me, the caliber of candidates, it's up to each individual, right? It's on each individual. The challenge is we're not going to know all the candidates, but it's important to know the candidates that you are eligible to vote for. And people in, what's that, C2 she's in, Maya said?
Mm-hmm. C2
in St. George's. You've got Mr. Harvey, Mr. Swan, and Ms. Painter as of right now. Again, not nomination day yet. It's going to be interesting.
And you said it just then. Yeah, nomination day is actually tomorrow, guys. Friday. It's like basically here. So we'll know in just a few hours, it seems, who's going to actually be the official list of candidates, both party affiliated and independent. So this election is definitely proving to be one for the ages, and it's getting exciting. Okay, next on our news when it comes to politics and this upcoming general election, throwing his hat into the ring and saying that he is not a politician, but wants to represent the people of Somerset as his passion is community, is Stephen Ferris. Now, he's running in C34 as an independent candidate. Here's a quick statement that he said just the other day.
I can say that a lot of the people that I've actually spoken to within my demographic, which is between the ages of 35 and 45, they don't really want to vote. They don't have a desire to vote, and I felt that it was my obligation to actually be that option for them or be a voice for them if they didn't want to vote for either of the parties.
So in his full press conference, he was talking about how within his constituency, a lot of people didn't want to vote party. And so he was asking them would they vote independent. He got good feedback from it. He didn't say if he was going to be running independent, but now he has stood up and put his hat into the ring to be that option for the people in his constituency.
His face looks familiar, but I don't think I know him.
He's an entrepreneur. He owns the flower store and the recently opened one as well that is in the mall.
Yeah, Sancho was saying in the group yesterday, but I can't. I don't know I've seen him before. I say that much, but don't know. Yeah.
I do believe he said he also did some schooling up in Somerset as well. So he may have worked within education, or at least in the school boards up there.
I only travel Somerset twice every 2 years. I don't know nothing that goes on up there. All right. Well, that's not true. West End Warriors, you kept me focused. Yeah. Sorry.
Moreover, and this will probably be the most shocking news of the news break right now, it was announced here on the show that Omar Diallo will be running in the upcoming general election, but it wasn't said where. Well, that may have also been a wait because he is now going up against the Honorable Premier David Burt. The Honorable Premier David Burt in C18 in Pembroke West. So that will be happening. Those two will be facing against each other. So we got the Premier, the Honorable David Burt, and himself, Omar Diallo, coming into this general election, going up against each other. And I think that's probably some real interesting news there for any other constituencies in that spot. The PLP actually did respond to this announcement, saying that the constituents of C18 will not be swayed by personal attacks, conspiracy theories, or wacky ideas with a desire to prop up the OBA. Sadly, that is all the FDM are offering. They closed saying that the voters of C18 appreciate increased pensions, expanded childcare, lower taxes for workers and small business owners, and the support we have implemented for the first-time homeowners. While voters in C18 understand that the PLP is not perfect, they know that the PLP has been a consistent presence in and around the community for the last 4 years, and not just at election time. The FDM has not.
So they respond to everybody that comes out that okay. Anyway, that said, I think I just want to mention that during Omar Diallo's unveiling as the candidate for that constituency, which David Burt actually replaced the Honorable Letha Butterfield for the PLP to represent PLP in that space. She announced Omar. She spoke about Omar. And I think that's a powerful thing. Now, that said, I think, if you look at 2012, when Phil Parent-Chief ran there, Nick Kemp for the OBA, Phil Parent-Chief Independent, and David Burt PLP, that was much closer. Now, this is David Burt's constituency to lose. But I think it's one thing to keep in mind. Every time I speak to a PLP MP right now, people are just unhappy with the leadership. They're unhappy. I'm just keeping it real. This is what they're hearing. This is what PLP MPs are hearing on the doorstep, that they're unhappy with David Burt as the leader. Right? Now, if that's the case, not saying that Omar will win, but it might not be as easy for the premier in that seat. So it's one to watch. It's one to watch.
You keep saying this election, man, it's definitely one for the ages. And you're right about the history of Dr. the Honorable Letha Butterfield being there to actually present Omar Dio and, be on his side for this seat, considering, yes, it was hers in the past that the Premier David Burt did take. So that's just a bit of like history, and also just interesting to see how the timelines work and how they shift going through the years.
Yeah.
And closing with our politics, another shock, this one coming from the Progressive Labour Party of this election turnover, because candidates for the PLP. So Ariana Hudson is out for C25 and Joanne Ball Burgess is in. The Premier said after discussion with Senator Adriana Hudson and the constituency 25 branch, a decision was made to move forward with a new candidate for the upcoming election. We're sure that there's going to be more said on that later this week as to why one was chosen over the other after already being announced for this general election. So as you see there, now it's their one candidate who they have now replaced the old one.
So why they leave us hanging? This look, man, is it too early for popcorn? This is interesting because, I'm not one for rumors. I mean, I've already given you one, but I read on a news website that there was something about a candidate wanting to run in another constituency and having it out with said leader. And let me stop with the rumors. Maya, keep this show credible. Go ahead. Get out of here.
There is definitely a lot more that's going to come forward, I'm sure, when it comes to what's happening within the party and, who's going to be in what position. But again, tomorrow's a big day, nomination day. We're going to know who's going to be in every single seat for sure, officially. Yeah. That's the big thing, officially. We've definitely been hearing a lot of rollouts, and a lot of people have been putting their hats in and saying this is what they're going to do. But tomorrow's that real day when it really sinks in that, this is official and you are going to be running and your name's going to be in this history book.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're waiting for, to get that official stamp so we can bring it all to you guys here and we get to know who the candidates are and where they'll be in your constituency. All right, meanwhile, moving away from some politics, but still a little bit of a controversial political story, updates on the renovations for Fairmont Southampton right now. So let's tap into this story to see what's going on up there and what has been done and what we should be looking forward to when it comes to their roll down as to when it should be opening.
The public should know that the steakhouse, the Waterlot, reopened its doors on December the 4th after an extensive renovation. The feedback on the updated restaurant has been overwhelmingly positive. Construction at the worksite continues with interior demolition of the guest rooms and on-site staff dorms underway, including a removal of all furniture that will not be reused, carpeting, all coverings, vanities, and other finishings. Other work scheduled for the upcoming weeks include finalizing the approval of shop drawings and placing the orders for the guest room furniture, plumbing fixtures, carpets, and tiles. There are approximately 50 construction workers on site on a regular basis, including management. About 80% of these employees are local. They expect to onboard additional waves of workers in upcoming weeks as the broader construction starts on the beach club and continues at the hotel.
Okay, I'm not going to talk negative about it because then they're going to say I'm taking one side or the other and it's an election coming up. So I ain't saying nothing.
I would say probably the best thing to note from there is that they will be looking for more workers should anyone be interested in actually putting their name in or getting a foot in the door there to be working at the South P while they are doing the renovations. All right, moving on to just the weather for today. Mix of sun and clouds, chance of a morning shower though. Winds should be moderate today and not as bad as the earlier weeks if it was a bit too windy. But we've got a high of 67. It's going to feel lower indeed. So make sure you get that jacket. Again, gloves on that bike. Don't try to be brave because I know what it's like riding in that cold weather in Bermuda. Your fingers are freezing. So definitely be careful out there and mindful on the roads.
All righty. Well, Maya, it's the days of the year. Over here in the U.S., it's National Escape Day, Maya. National Escape. So the idea of taking a vacation has been around for a long time, although it's hard to trace it back exactly. So how do you want to celebrate National Escape? Well, we're somewhere, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on a trip away from home. Like something you can do in your own space. Like what's an escape from reality for you? Is it just sitting on your couch and reading a book? Like, audience, let us know, what is an escape for you today? What's an escape for you, man?
Literally, you literally just said, I was like, you know what I like to do? Shut off all my electronics and just either sit down and read or go for a run. It's been a minute since I've been able to run because of the weather out here. It's just horrible. It's like snowing constantly and obviously black ice everywhere. Yet I still see some people running and I'm just like, I don't know how you're doing it because I would literally no. But yeah, read a book or run.
Okay. My escape is usually just turning on some background music and relaxing. Going boxing sometimes. I haven't done it this year yet. That's like something because when you're doing it, you don't even know how much time's going by and you just look, oh, dang, 20 minutes. But those would be my escapes right now. As far another one, go and get a massage. Haven't done that in a while. Like that's an escape. I just can't get a talkative person. Someone told me they got a facial last week and lady talked the entire time. I'm like, how are you supposed to enjoy the experience? But those are some escapes for me. What else, audience? What do you have? I got a political joke.
Oh gosh. All right. You know what? They've actually been pretty decent. So let's hear it.
All right. I made this one up myself. All right. Here we go.
Lord.
Why are you judging it already? All right.
So, go ahead.
All right. Why'd the elephant leave the circus?
You said it was a political joke.
Why'd the elephant leave the circus?
Okay. Why did the elephant leave the circus? I don't know. To get back to the safari? I don't know.
He got tired of working with lazy politicians. Get it? Politics is a circus, like clown show? No? No?
That one didn't hit the way you wanted it to hit.
No?
This is what happens when you try to do things on your own, especially jokes. Stay in your lane. I mean, no, branch out. Try to do things.
Somebody said it was a political circus the other day. Somebody said a clown show. My goodness.
I get where it's going, but it just didn't hit the way you wanted it to hit. You should have asked ChatGPT.
My goodness. Fine. Next time I'll use ChatGPT. Audience.
Don't do that.
You know I was about to go on there. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you. Thank you. Maya, you have a wonderful day, sister.
You too. Enjoy a conversation coming up.
Thank you. All right, Maya Palacio, folks, if you appreciated the discussion, the news break, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 3 minutes, 14 seconds with the Commissioner of Police, Darrin Simon. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
When it comes to footwear, we carry functional, comfortable, orthopedic and waterproof shoes.
We have construction shoes, golf shoes, shoes for walking, shoes for boating. We even have shoes for pickleball. We have shoes for everyone.
With brands by Skechers, Atrax, Propay, Easy Street, Nursemates, Clogs, Avenger, Cherokee, Cat, Frog Talk and DeWalt. The list goes on.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Microloan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
The reason why you should vote for the One Bermuda Alliance, the reason why you should give us a chance at fixing this country, is because we actually care. We've demonstrated that time and again. We're here to strengthen the community, and that means that we don't take advantage of political opportunities. We're here to enforce integrity in politics, and that means when we see it going wrong, we go to the courts, and we bring the public's attention to it. And most of all, we're here to take care of the money, your money, not the government's money. And we're going to spend it on things that need it. Not music studios, not pet projects, but on your needs, on your wants, your desires. And this includes things like public safety and education. There is no need to be flying around the world on all these trips when all of our problems are here, which is exactly where the solutions are as well. I'm Darrin, the leader of the One Bermuda Alliance, and we need your vote.
Bermuda Trivia, the Black History Edition, is now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Visit bermudatrivia.com or email contact@bermudatrivia.com to learn more.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Jamal Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. I just want to say before we bring the commission in, so obviously many of us follow the news throughout the world, and it seems last night there was a very tragic incident in the Potomac as an aircraft and a Black Hawk helicopter collided in the air and landed in the Potomac. It looks like 60 people who were on the American Airlines flight are reportedly deceased. So, Bermudians, we love to travel, and that's the one thing you don't want to think about. Very, very sad for the families. And I know people are saying how insensitive the media can be during this, times like this. But I think the media's job is really to try to find out what happened for you, get answers and the like. But very sad to read things like that as you fall asleep or you wake up. And, you really hope that people are okay. But unfortunately, it looks like there has been a lot of casualties, mass casualties that have taken place. So sending warm and loving thoughts to those impacted by that incident. All right, without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got the Commissioner of the Bermuda Police Service, Darrin Simons. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Greetings, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Jamal. Good morning to your listening audience.
How are you?
I'm hanging tough, as they say. It's a nice early start to the day. Start the day with a little bit of time with you rather than a whole bunch of emails. It couldn't be better.
There you go. And I'm pretty sure, unlike Maya, because she's cold, you even enjoyed a joke or two you may have heard, I hope.
I did enjoy the joke. I mean, I think it could use a little work, a little polish. Yeah, okay. But it's a good first foot forward.
I'm going to the comedy club and audition and hopefully get a coach for my delivery. That's what
don't quit your day job.
So diplomatic. Before we jump into today's conversation, though, Commissioner, it's days of the year. It's escape. What do you do to escape? Like, you have one of the hardest jobs in the country. What do you do to escape? Like, when you just need time away or from emails, from everything.
Just completely shut down, relax, read. I don't even necessarily like watch social media or stuff like that. Just disconnect and recharge. I do enjoy reading, science fiction kind of stuff. So I'll just put my feet up on the couch. Sometimes listen to music. Go for a walk is nice.
Yep.
But I haven't done that in a little while, and I keep telling myself I've got to get back out there for my what used to be routine morning walks.
And Commissioner, you can't use Maya's excuse about black ice and snow and stuff like that.
No, I can't. I can't. But for the past couple of weeks, it has been very wet, windy, and cold Bermuda style. Because it's nothing like the Hawk.
That's true. You take me back to Regiment Recruit Camp, man. January, first, second week of January. Those are some times. But again, thank you for joining us. As we get into the conversation today, I think it's important for us to self-reflect as a community on the kind of year we had in so many aspects. So we're grateful to the Bermuda Police Service for coming on the past few Januaries and speaking to us about the previous year. But let's start with, violent crime as far as murders. I know that there was a period after Bermuda Day last year where there was it seemed like a high number of murders in Bermuda over the span of a two-month period. How many murders did Bermuda end up having in 2024? And how many people have been charged to date for those murders?
Okay, so there were 9 murders in 2024. 4 of those murders happened 3 of those murders and a death happened in one incident, but the additional death is not a murder. To date, we haven't charged anyone, but we're obviously making progress in those cases. And again, I sort of take this opportunity, if you have any information about any of the serious crimes that have occurred in Bermuda, to come forward and contact the police. I mean, you've got the confidential Crime Stoppers numbers. Everyone knows a cop. If you know one, speak to one. So definitely help us to solve these murders, because it really does take, unless there's obvious forensic evidence at the scene that leads to charging and conviction, it almost always, in fact, it always takes members of the community to come forward and say what they've seen, say what they know.
Yeah. In private conversations, I've obviously people have a lot of opinions, and you have people that would say, look, the reason this keeps happening is because people don't think there's going to be consequences because people aren't being charged. But, you just stated, what people can do. Is there another approach based on, of the murders last year? No one's been charged. Is there other approaches? And you don't have to say what, but other approaches being considered? Because, is it more cameras? I know a couple of years ago, we were talking about more CCTV, more cameras. Is it more like building more trust with the community? I think it was recently unveiled political candidate Desmond Crockle. I think he was quoted as saying something to the effect, Bermudians love to gossip, but they don't like to talk, right? We've got to move past this, because at the end of the day, you're speaking about people who have taken other people's lives, being amongst us at maybe it's cop match, county game, every day on the street, they could be going to work, but we can't continue down this road, because the more we do, the more others may think, well, no one's been charged for this, I can get away with it too, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure that people necessarily think they're going to get away with, because we've got a fairly good track record of catching and convicting people in the violent crime space, catching and convicting murders. There are a number of unsolved murders. I believe that number is up to 35 unsolved murders. But I think if, generally speaking, we do have a very good record. Again, I really do encourage the community to come forward. For us, fairness, accountability, and transparency, building trust within the community is absolutely important. And, we do that by treating people fairly, by being accountable for our actions, putting our hands up when we've done things that we shouldn't do, we've got things wrong, just generally being transparent. So technology obviously plays a role, and the new CCTV camera system, which is coming online, we're up to about 130 locations that have been installed already. And I think that's going to make a difference. But where crimes occur deep in residences, the cameras are more or less on the roadways, and then it helps us to understand or know who may have been traveling to or from. And, the CCTV system is going to be particularly useful. And also, don't forget, in the background, you've got a significant investigation that's going on that's looking at the forensic opportunities, obviously trying to speak with people. And then, we have an intelligence section that is always gathering information about what's going on. And in my words, sort of getting behind the people that are the highest harm causers in Bermuda.
Indeed. Thank you for that, Commissioner. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Commissioner Simons, please send them through. We'll do our best to get through as many questions and comments as possible. Just want to shift gears. Unfortunately, like last January, I believe we began the year with another road fatality involving a teenager. How many road fatalities did we have last year, and what is the main cause of these collisions?
Okay, so last year, actually interesting. Last year we had 7 fatalities. Now that is unusually low. I mean, for the past forever, we have been averaging about 1 a month. So to get 7 this year, I think it was good. The previous year in 2023, there were 13, and in 2022, there were 11. Very tragic for the beginning of the year, very tragic loss of life for an 18-year-old. And again, I extend condolences on behalf of the Bermuda Police Service to that family, a young 18-year-old woman. What are the main causes of accidents? I mean, they vary. Speed, alcohol, drug, if I put that all in one, are probably sort of the main. Inattention are the main reasons, but generally speaking, it's going to be speed and alcohol. Often when you see an accident occur, a single vehicle accident at dark o'clock in the morning, very often that will be alcohol related. Accidents that are 2 vehicle accidents that occur during the day, very often, speed is involved.
Mm-hmm. And although the road fatalities were down, which we're grateful to hear, more of that, please. How about collisions? How are we looking for collisions?
So collisions, the actual numbers, the actual numbers of collisions, I think, are fairly static. That hovers around 1,500 a year. In 2024, which I have some statistics in front of me, in 2024, we had 126 serious collisions. In 2023, we had 124 serious collisions, and 2022, we had 132. So, in terms of raw or numbers, it's still averaging the same. We sort of, in policing, will say that a fatality is a serious collision with a fatal outcome. In other words, the point to take away with that is that every serious injury collision could result in a fatality. And it's things like advancement, going way back, like introduction of helmet laws, introduction of seatbelt laws, changes in engineering in terms of how vehicles are built. So it is much rarer to see a fatality from a car, whereas if you go back before when we didn't have seatbelt laws, that was more common. So there are a number of things that can occur to help reduce road fatalities, and they usually involve around engineering, education, and enforcement.
And I think you kind of answered my next question, because last year, and I don't know if the Bermuda Police Service keeps count, I don't know if the public does, but it seemed like we had an unusual high number.
It was 13 last year.
No, I mean of vehicles going overboard on Harbor Road specifically. Right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I
speak to that. Yeah.
I don't. Okay, so I don't like, these more minor accidents. I don't necessarily follow them to conclusion in terms of what happened. But I've seen a number of accidents on straight roads where cars have just gone off the edge of the road. My gut feeling is that cell phone. Single vehicle, cars just don't drive off the road. Drivers that are looking forward, driving properly with the appropriate amount of attention, just don't go off a straight road into the water. But if your eyes are diverted and you're looking at a cell phone, that can happen, especially single vehicle. Cars just don't deviate into other lanes of traffic or just drive off the road. And my gut feeling is that is some of that, or much of that, is because people are, let's just say, distracted driving and probably it would be use of a cell phone.
Got you. Let's speak about, you mentioned causes, speed, alcohol, distractions, and the like. After the recent fatality involving a young lady, there was a news report that the conditions of the road may be playing a role. Obviously, that's not your department, to speak on the conditions of the roads. But it's one thing that I was used to when I lived in Bermuda. When I would ride my bike, I would always know where the potholes were. I'm not making excuses for the state of the roads. I'm simply saying you would ride a bit slower. Well, if in fact the conditions of the road play a role, what would you say to people? Just slow down, or what would you say?
Yeah, you have to always drive within the distance you can see to be clear, and drive appropriate for the road conditions that are present. Whether that's the road surface, the weather conditions that are going to impact your ability to stop and turn. You need to be mindful of all those, of all those matters. I do appreciate the comments about our road conditions, particularly for cyclists. If a road, your tire, can sort of get stuck in a rut, and you're traveling at speed, or when I say at speed, I don't necessarily mean speeding horrendously, but you're just traveling a little faster, or you are turning, that can create a problem.
Got you. Makes sense, Commissioner. You shared statistics on shootings and the havoc on our roads, but there's so many other things. People are still wondering how many firearms are on the streets, domestic violence, what are those stats and the like. But when you, as the Commissioner of Police, look at the statistics overall for the year in so many different aspects, what is the most concerning stat to you from what the Bermuda Police Service collected in 2024?
Well, I think for me, it without a doubt, is the number of murders. That is always concerning. I just think there are changes in our society that have been around now for a decade, 2 decades, in terms of people's attitudes around violence. We're seeing more of that. We see that play out with firearms, but we're also seeing that play out with bladed articles, knives, people stabbing each other, and that number has gone up significantly. Beyond that, interestingly, crime is at its lowest, when you look at the all crime index, but the reality is that doesn't necessarily mean much to everyday people. What really affects them, what really hits their psyche is, when we have violent crimes, and that has remained static for a long period of time, if not actually going up a bit, if not in numbers, just the nature of the crimes that are being committed. So that does cause me, some concern.
Indeed, got you. I know years ago, I believe it was former Commissioner of Police Corbishley mentioned something about I don't want to quote him wrong, but something about there aren't many firearms on the street, or there's same firearms being used. Could you give the public any confidence today that there are a smaller amount of firearms on the streets than maybe last year this time? Have the police been able to remove a large? Because I see in the news regularly there are situations where you're taking drugs and you're taking catching people with firearms. Can we be confident that there are less firearms, or that's we can't really say?
So we have recovered quite a number of firearms. I believe that number is up to 10. I believe that number is up to 10. But the reality is we do see a lot of community firearms, so the same firearm being used multiple times. And this has been a historical pattern because unlike many other countries, we tightly regulate the use of firearms. And without a doubt, categorically, because I know this could be a hot topic, firearm restriction is the best for Bermuda, just categorically. There are not a lot of firearms just by virtue of the fact that they're difficult to get, but it only takes a couple to really wreak the havoc that causes us concern in Bermuda. But I do not believe that there's and our sort of forensic results do not indicate that we are awash with firearms.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Commissioner. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Commissioner Simon, please send them through. Let's talk about numbers. I know that many of the services, the prisons, fire, police, regiment, everyone is in recruitment mode. There's some numbers. You've addressed this last year. Just remind people, based on Bermuda's population, how many police officers are required for the service to function as it needs to be. Where are we at as far as that number, and what's going on as far as recruitment at this current stage?
All right, first a little bunny trail to go down because you said based on our population size, what are the numbers? So we're often compared with other jurisdictions with significantly larger numbers of people and obviously police. But when you look at the ratio to population to police, Bermuda and all of the smaller islands jurisdictions are going to have a higher ratio of police to population. And that's because the real thing you need to look at is the types of services you want the Bermuda Police Service to deliver. So for example, if you would like to have a schools program, and there are 10 schools, it doesn't matter that your population is 30,000 or 100,000, you're going to still need a minimum amount of police officers to provide those services. So it's one of the things I just like to reframe is that when you think about how many police officers you would like in Bermuda, I think the question to really ask is, what do you want the police officers to do? What services do you want them to deliver? Now, to actually answer your question, over a number of years ago, we agreed with a previous minister that the number 420 was a number that we could what we believe that we could meet the expectations of the community and deliver policing services. Today, as opposed to last year, we would have been down in the 360. We're now up at 385. 23 of those officers are actually in training school now. So they're not on the street delivering policing services, but that will be coming very, very soon. And we will be starting another course in April, which we hope to hit about another, 20, maybe just under 25. And then after that, there will be another course in November, let's say, where we'll have another group of 25 or whatever that number is to get us to the 420 that we are pushing for a budget. Yeah, so that's about where we are today. Today we're at 385.
385. All right. Thank you for that, Commissioner. We've got some questions from the audience. Start with Shamari Sky. He says, so many shootings have happened on the same street where police headquarters is located. So how can Bermudians have confidence that the police can keep the island safe when they can't keep their front yards safe?
Yeah, very good question. And we used to get that same kind of question when the St. George's police station, was in St. George's. Just up the street from was St. George's Liquors, and there forever were problems there. The reality is we police the entire island, and the same coverage that there is on Court Street, for example, is other places. So we don't necessarily treat the front of the police station or the I don't know, the environs near the police station any differently than we do the rest of the island. The same, during a night shift, for example, the same 4 to 6 officers are patrolling the entire central division and not just right in front of the station.
Indeed. Thank you for that. We've got, I think this is, I'll read it from the side. When will you remove the cameras off Loyal Hill? Can we carefully take them down for you if that is easier? No fees, no charges. We can personally drop the cameras off so they can get there safely. That's from Suzanne Ingham. I did ask you about CCTV earlier. I may differ with a lot of people. My life is surveilled. My car, I have cameras in my apartment. I have cameras. That's just how I live to protect myself as well. But what's the challenge with CCTV?
Well, let me speak directly to Loyal Hill. So I've spent some time up in Loyal Hill just trying to share with the area residents, what the cameras can do, what they're looking at, and why they're there. I do. It's interesting because I've done this will now be my fourth, maybe fifth, like major iteration of CCTV, and I've been there from the very beginning around the Bermuda's adoption of CCTV, and I can tell you overwhelmingly, I want cameras in my area. So it was a bit odd that a particular group of residents are saying no, we don't want cameras. I want to speak to that, just specifically. Loyal Hill wasn't in our previous wasn't a previous location because it didn't need it. But over time, and as a result of what we see, criminals and the routes that they get to and from areas, Loyal Hill, that junction there became an ideal location, and hence why that camera's there. I did go up and meet with the residents, and one of the things that we've done is I'm not sure what the right word is, but shaded or obscured elements of the camera so they don't see the yards and that they really are just looking at the roadway, the junction that's there. So I do want to address that point. I appreciate the concerns that people might have. That camera in Loyal Hill not only serves Loyal Hill, but it serves all the crime, all of the community who may experience crime as a result of criminals traversing that area. And if over a period of time we see that camera is not we're not getting information or value from that camera, we would move it, but we are a little way from making that kind of assessment. And then you asked me, sorry, what was the next question?
Yeah, just ask me your overall feeling about CCTV making a difference.
I think CCTV is a critical crime fighting tool. Most modern or developed countries have far more extensive CCTV systems that Bermuda does. We're getting there. We're able to implement some of the later technologies in terms of higher pixel cameras to give us the resolution, so we don't necessarily just see a blob that looks like a person on a bike, but we're able to identify make and model, and particularly maybe during the day. We would be able to identify actual people as a result of that. But it gives us tremendous situational awareness and it gives us tremendous, because people have to get to and from crimes, right? The cameras don't always, if you're in the city center, yes, it might catch a crime, but generally speaking, it's going to catch people going to or from that crime. And because the CCTV is fairly extensive, you can maybe follow them back to near where they live or the point where they went to after a commission of crime, or even came from on the way to committing a crime. So I think it is a game changer, and I think it's absolutely necessary. It helps to reduce the total cost of policing and provides better coverage of the island than simple people can do. And that's from a criminal perspective, also from a traffic perspective, because that we are slowly moving towards sort of speed cameras. We could potentially have red light detection cameras, speed over distance kind of cameras. And I think once that level of enforcement is in Bermuda, it will have an impact on driver behavior. So I talked about the numbers of fatalities are generally around that, 1 per month, but there's I wouldn't be able to convince anyone that driver behavior just hasn't gotten poor over time. Like, just everybody's driving behavior. People are not driving as safely. They're not driving as the level of care, caution, and courtesy as we did in years gone by. And I think some of this just broad spread enforcement is going to require people to change their driving behavior. So I think it is an absolute game changer, and I'm grateful for the government for having provided the funding to move that forward.
Indeed. Thank you, Commissioner. We've got Michael Daniels asking, when recruiting, do you have a realistic idea of the size of the pool you're drawing from?
You mean, okay, so I'm presuming it means like a local pool. I actually, as I sit here, I couldn't tell you. There are, maybe a couple of thousand, 3,000-4,000 of people that might be, able to consider the BPS as a viable career. But what I can tell you is that everybody's fishing from that same pond, right? There are not enough people to support. There are not enough, certainly aren't enough Bermudians, and there aren't enough even local people to support all the jobs that need to be done. Hence, we have to go overseas. And, traditionally, not everybody, thinks that a career in policing is necessarily for them. I disagree, but call me biased. I've been at this for 30 plus years, and I absolutely love my job. I tell the story all the time. Like, when I became a new recruit early on the days, I just the feeling I had is like, I can't believe they pay me to do this. I mean, I just absolutely love it. I think it's exciting, and if more people actually gave it a shot, I think more people would realize, hey, I really do enjoy this, and I find it rewarding. That's the other thing. It was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was absolutely fun, but it was also rewarding. When you know that you are making a difference in people's lives, when life has just hit the deck and skidded, things have come unraveled. I know. I just thought that is tremendously rewarding, and you sort of help more people than you're involved in, arresting, prosecuting, et cetera, et cetera.
Indeed.
So if I could get in a little plug. Shameless.
One last question from the audience. We've got Traveling Trotty. She's asking, when will the police cadet program be reinstalled?
So I get that question a lot. And I get that question a lot. What the ministry is looking at is a ministry-wide cadet program. So it may be where the regiment does the day-to-day program, and then as the program develops, each of call them cadets, because they could be older individuals that were also helping to get over the bar in terms of the academic piece. But the cadets would go around from uniform service to uniform service and be able to see, what is it that this uniform service does versus the other, and then maybe form a more informed view about where they would like to apply, where they would like to end up. So that program is still in development. As it relates to a specific police cadet program, obviously I want to see what the ministry-wide one looks like. And when we're fully staffed, then I would be able to actually give some meaningful thought about, do we want to do this? Is the other program working or not? Or just, have some conversations. But the driver right now around the cadet program is just the amount of staffing that it takes, which is not huge. It's 2s and 3s, but that makes a massive difference in terms of our resource allocation today. And the other thing is, the cadet program kind of waned. It was beyond me, but why parents didn't, they weren't just lined up, because the cadet program was amazing. One, we paid for your education, we gave you life skills, and we also paid you a stipend. I was surprised at the end we were just not overrun as the program sort of came to an end. We just weren't. One of the reasons was people just weren't signing up for it. It was, I just didn't understand. I quite frankly didn't understand that. But suffice that to say that, the Ministry of National Security, call it cadet program, is still in development. And I think that's going to meet the same or similar needs. And maybe there'll be an opportunity to reassess and review that if it's meeting our needs in the future.
Indeed. Commissioner, last question before you head out. What would you say to the Bermudian people based on the 2024 statistics and looking ahead to 2025? What would you say to them as far as helping them gain confidence in the Bermuda Police Service?
So I think, what's really important to us are things like fairness, accountability, transparency, integrity. You've seen a lot of, news about the police play itself out in the news. It's a bit redundant. But we are, some of that is just like we released the culture review, for example. That is about us trying to be inform the public about what's going on, their police service, demonstrate accountability and demonstrate transparency for the things you've done. You've seen a number of disciplinary cases play themselves out, and you're going to see some more. I'm not going to shy away from that. That's us ensuring that our organization is filled with people that are doing the right thing. That's us looking for when officers aren't doing the things that they should be doing, responding to complaints and following them through to completion. When you look at our track record around catching and convicting, I think that's a record. Well, it is a record that I'm proud of, like the number of criminals that we catch and convict relative to the crime that's being committed. We're putting a lot of energy, last year and we will continue into this year into improving our response around domestic abuse. So, a couple of years ago, I just sort of looked under the covers under the rug about how we were responding with domestic abuse. And one of the things that victims of domestic abuse were saying is that, we weren't necessarily empathetic enough. They didn't understand all that was involved in the process. And we're putting energy into educating our officers about like trauma-informed service delivery, standardizing our response to domestic abuse, maintaining good contacts with our partners to ensure that we're getting feedback from them and victims themselves and responding to those initial times where people are saying, hey, you got it wrong, or hey, you should have done it differently, and just being more proactive in that, or just some of off the top of my head reasons why people should have faith and trust in their Bermuda Police Service. Go back to the culture review. So the culture review was if I have to be absolutely candid, was a little bit of a mixed bag. But one of the things that just was resounding is overwhelmingly officers are proud to work in the Bermuda Police Service, feel like they belong, and they're proud to deliver the service that they're delivering. Was, for me, on the positive side, some of the key takeaways. So you've got people that love what they do, love the organization they're part of, and are delivering that service to a community that needs it. And I think that is a recipe for success.
Indeed. And thank you for touching on the cultural review. It's definitely been in the news as of late. And I had someone reach out to me and say that the Bermuda Police Service, regardless of the result, has set a standard in transparency as far as, quangos and government departments and organizations. So again, for me, it's not about what's going to make us look good, right? It should be about what can we learn to improve for the people who we serve. So we appreciate you being transparent and sharing that stuff. Commissioner, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate you. One last question. I did kind of tell you, we have one asked, but it came through from Rosalind Famous. She's asking, would it be helpful to have more forensic staff living on the island to help solve murders?
Absolutely. Obviously you must know someone, right? Because when you've used the word forensic, our forensic capacity is not at all where it is. I will be writing to the government to just civilianize that department. And one of the things I think will be important for Bermuda to hear is very often there are not people that you don't just graduate from Bermuda College and you're a forensic specialist. It requires specialist training, and that training is kind of long and kind of expensive. And that has been a bit of a hurdle around why we've not been able to recruit locally for forensic officers. However, with the change that I'm making, I'm creating posts for call them a junior forensic officer, that our intention is to see how that person works, see what their attitude and aptitude for that kind of work is, and progress them to the not full-time, but the full forensic officer position. So that's a commitment that I have to Bermuda, if you'd like, that we are going to create a pathway for people who are interested, have the right attitude and the aptitude to do that kind of work, to progress them into that department.
Gotta appreciate that attitude and aptitude. Commissioner, thank you.
Attitude is huge for me.
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what the public need and want. That can only help the relationship between the people and the service. Thank you so much for your time. We'd love to have you quarterly, but you're busy. But thank you for making time for this audience and making time for us to have these direct conversations with us, and just keep us informed if there's anything, whether it's recruitment or things that are changing within the service. Please just reach out, let us know what we can do with this platform to assist and keep the positivity regarding the safety of our greater community front and center. So thank you, Commissioner.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Hartman, for having me. And I want to wish the whole of Bermuda a happy and safe 2025.
Thank you much. We'll talk soon. All right, Commissioner Darrin Simons, folks, if you appreciated the conversation this morning, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take one final break. We'll be back in about 1 minute, 40 seconds. Stick with us.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Noah's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
All right. Who was the first woman to become not just the first female opposition leader in Bermuda, but throughout the entire British Commonwealth?
Dame Lewis Brown Evans.
Hey, buddy. Hun, who was the first woman to serve as opposition leader, not just in Bermuda, but throughout the entire British Commonwealth?
Dame Lewis Brown Evans.
Mason, what did you say?
Dame Lewis Brown Evans.
Dame Lois Brown Evans? Where do you find that?
Mommy playing Bermuda Trivia.
Mommy playing Bermuda Trivia.
Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you. Good job.
It's true. Children are a reflection of their environment. Bermuda's favorite trivia game, fun with a purpose. To educate, to entertain, to inform, to inspire, to learn, and to enjoy. Bermuda Trivia. All volumes now available at various stores throughout Bermuda. Visit bermudatrivia.com to learn more and follow Bermuda Trivia on your favorite social media platforms.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Commissioner of the Bermuda Police Service, Darrin Simons, for stopping by, providing the insight and information. And always props to you, the audience, for the questions that you had, holding the commissioner accountable and the organization. We appreciate you. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Windows and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. Folks, if you haven't already, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you post it, retweet it, send it to your friends, your family, your colleagues. Ensure that everyone you know has access to these community conversations. I also want to give a big shout out to Shawnette Bell. She's been a member of our YouTube channel for 27 months, so she has access to a lot of the stuff that we have going on behind the scenes and beyond the mic. So thank you for your financial support. If you too can join, it costs you really nothing, about $2.99 a month. We appreciate any financial support. As you know, it does. You all know it does kind of help us a bit to be able to live and do this for you to eat and be able to wake up and do this. So any financial support that the audience gives is always appreciated, never taken for granted. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's a Name That Place. Name that place today. All right, very easy one. What is the number of the constituency that Renee Main currently represents as the MP? All right, we got Traveling Charlies at C1. Sheldon Fox at 1. Mark Arthur C. Phillips at C2. NTS at 2. Mark Arthur C. Phillips at C1. Kenton Trott 1. Alan Kate Horton 1. All right, most of us got it. It's 1, C1. Yeah, I tell you it was easy. C1. 1 through 36. We will be getting tomorrow. We will be getting constituents from 1 through 36, folks. 1 through 36. All right, let's wrap it up today. Look, Maya did a very extensive news break this morning and a lot of rollouts yesterday. Today we expect more rollouts. I told you, I heard that rumor about Michael Fay in the OBA. Say what you want about it. I heard the rumor. I'm not saying it's true or not, but that's what I'm hearing. But very interesting if they go back that way. Not to say that Michael Fay is a bad person or a good person, but it'll be interesting. I'll say that much. I'm confused by the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party replacing Ariana Hudson. Very puzzled. And in the interest of transparency, I mean, maybe it's an internal party thing. I would think not during the election season. You want to be as transparent as possible. Did she decline to withdraw, or was she pushed to withdraw? Why was she pushed to withdraw? I think the public, people, when Joanne Ball Burgess steps on your doorstep, feel free to ask that question if you're interested. Interest in Omar Dill. He was presented by Dr. the Honorable Nalitha Butterfield. I wonder if that will have an impact in that constituency as far as him challenging the Premier, the Honorable David Byrd. Tiffany Painter. I said what I said. She is one of my favorite people over the last few years in Bermuda. Genuine fighter. I think she can cause some trouble down there in C2. I don't know Mr. Ferris, but seems other people do. Seems like he just wants to contribute to a better Bermuda in his community. So, there was a time when I didn't value people who got into politics. I just thought, they just want to be popular. I'm starting to see a different trend. I'm starting to see people who genuinely care, and when I say genuinely care, they're not all about posting what they're doing out in the community, but they care where you can feel the work that they're doing. You can feel the work that Tiffany's doing, right? You can feel the work that Omar's doing through the work that he does for a living. You can feel the work that maybe Joanne Ball Burgess is doing, right? Yeah, it's an interesting time, folks. We've got one more day until nomination day, and then we're home stretch, 18 days until the general election. All right, it is, well, as far as the Bermuda Police Service and the commissioner, it's been a tough time for the Bermuda Police Service, been in the news, the cultural review, but I appreciate that cultural review being made public. I do, because at the end of the day, and I'm going to use the Bermuda Tourism Authority, they are not releasing their stuff. Why? And you ask yourself, why? The Bermuda Police Service is there to protect us. The Bermuda Tourism Authority is there to help us economically. One has accusations about bullying and the like, among other things. And the Bermuda Police Service, they have their issues. But why is it one confidently, even though the results of the survey are not favorable, sharing them, but the other is protective? Ask yourself that, audience. Why are they not releasing the details? someone shouldn't have to submit a patty to us to know what's going on in tax-funded organizations. Speak about that to your MPs or aspiring MPs who come to your doorstep. As far as the amount of murders and the roads and the like, I say this all the time. A lot of it is on us, our own individual behavior. We have a part to play in policing Bermuda. It's on us too. Daily inspiration, here you go. Quote, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it, end quote. That's Albert Einstein. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. If you haven't already, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share, whatever it is that you can do to help this show. Make sure you do it for us. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.